guys, MaddDogg Miller here with the 6th Round Podcast Bellator edition. Today we're going to be breaking down Bellator 95. This is the last card of Season 8, so hope it's a good one. This card was originally scheduled to have Jessica Eye on it, and she's now off the card with a back injury, so that's unfortunate. We lost the number one 125-pound female fighter in the world, but still a pretty good card up ahead of us. We got also Lyman Good versus Dante Rivera on the prelims. That's kind of the main event on the prelims, so we're not going to be breaking that one down today because there's no betting lines on it. But we got 4 fights to break down and no time to waste. Let's get right to it with your Bellator breakdown. Alright, first fight we're breaking down is Karo Parisyan versus Rick Hahn. This one is pretty cut and dry, so we're just going to get right through it. Karo Parisyan, former bigwig for the UFC, he just got cut, and since being cut, he's gone 3-3 outside the UFC. He's making his Bellator debut. He's coming with a record of 22-9-1. He is the biggest underdog on the card at plus 380, and I can totally see why. It's not very often you see two judo guys, especially in Western mixed martial arts, see two judo guys go off against each other, and this would be a unique opportunity. And Karo is famous for having that amazing hip toss that he does really well in judo throws, but that's really all he offers. He really doesn't have any knockout power or stand up on the feet, which is what Rick Hahn's really good at. And Rick Hahn coming with a record of 14-2, and he's the biggest favorite on the card at negative 475, and that actually has gone up quite a bit since the lines came out, and rightfully so. Rick Hahn should win this on the feet. He should win this on the ground. I mean, he's returning to his old weight class at 170, so you can imagine he'll probably be much more conditioned. But yeah, Rick Hahn by destruction is my prediction. Which leads us into the featherweight tournament final, Mike the Marine Richman versus Frodo Kospolaev. This should be a very explosive fight. Both guys are very talented. Mike Richman being an extremely accomplished striker. He trains out of the Minnesota Martial Arts Academy, which is full of wrestlers, so it's weird to think that he's not that amazing of a wrestler, but we'll get to that. Mike Richman, 15-2. He's actually 4-1 in Bellator, his sole loss being to Shumhalaev, who's in the main event. And he's going to look to get revenge on him, but hey, we'll get to that later. He's the underdog at plus 240. This number has basically doubled overnight, and I can see where it's coming from. Mike Richman has a chance against anybody. This guy hits you, he puts you to sleep. He's a really good striker. But in that bout with Popo, which I actually scored for Popo, but that's neither here nor there, he actually showed that he's kind of a turtle off his back. Like, he does have good defense from strikes and subs, but he's not that great at getting back up, and that's going to be a big thing against a guy like Frodo, who's really good everywhere. Frodo, he's had a long career on the Russian circuit. He's got a record of 20-5. He's currently 4-0 in Bellator. He is the favorite at negative 280, and I think rightfully so. He's never been knocked out. If there's ever a guy to do it, it'd probably be Mike Richman. But never being knocked out. This guy has an amazing ground game, which he has displayed over and over, both in bouts with Chico and Marlon Sandro, especially with Marlon Sandro. If you can control Marlon Sandro on the ground, even this worn out Marlon Sandro, it's definitely an impressive feat. And he's riding an 8-fight win streak, and I really see him using this momentum to I think he could hold his own on the feet with Richmond. I don't think it'd be a very smart idea. Popo made that mistake. I think if he's smart, he'll take him down and try to submit him. That's what I kind of see happening. He may not get the submission, but I definitely believe he can use his wrestling and top game to control Richmond, and that's what I believe is going to happen. Following that would be the middleweight tournament final, Doug the Rhino Marshall versus Brett Cooper. There's a lot of people are going to laugh at me. I have ridden the Rhino this season, and it has paid off. Doug Marshall has been my cash cow. It is what I have gone to the bank and back with. This has definitely been what's made the season so positive. But he's definitely facing his toughest test yet in Brett Cooper, who's an extremely well-rounded and experienced fighter. He's been in the game for a while. He's 6-2 in Bellator, but he doesn't bring an overall record of 19-7. He is the heavy favorite at negative 270, and again, rightfully so. They both came off of weird losses or weird wins in their last round to get to the final. Brett Cooper, huge come from behind win over Dan Kramer, where it looked like he was getting his ass kicked, and he even got flash dropped in the beginning of the round. So he started off really bad, but came back and got him with an uppercut. Like he likes to throw those uppercuts a lot. We especially saw it in the fight with Shlemenko. But he's coming up against Doug the Rhino Marshall, who's 17-6, and he's really found new success in Bellator. He was hitting a rough patch in his career, and he's currently 3-0, and he's fought some of the best Bellator has at middleweight. And he is the underdog at plus 230, and I will probably end up playing this almost certainly. I'm definitely going to throw money on it. And the best thing about this is that the bookies keep putting the over for plus money, and right now I believe the over is at plus 125, which is the perfect hedge, because if Brett Cooper's going to win, it's probably going to be by grinding him out, although Brett Cooper could knock him out and could possibly submit him, but if he does win, it'll probably be by grinding out a decision using his wrestling. and which we really saw in the Aliev fight, where Aliev was able to control Rhino and keep him on his back, and Rhino actually ended up winning that fight off his back, which is very controversial, but I can see where the judges were coming from. But yeah, I'm almost assuredly going to be playing Rhino. I think this number will go up, and I'm probably going to throw more once it gets above plus 250. And finally, the main event of the evening, the Bellator 145-pound championship, Pat Curran versus Shambilat Shumhalaev. Shumhalaev is actually stepping in as a replacement for Daniel Strauss, who has had legal issues, and it's actually kind of poetic that Pat Curran started off the season and now he's ending the season on Spike. And this should be a very exciting fight. Shumhalaev is going to be coming with a record of 12-1-1. He is the underdog at plus 120, which is extremely close, and I can see why. He's got amazing striking, but he's also coming up against a guy like Pat Curran, who has amazing striking. Pat Curran, if you don't have him ranked in your top 15 featherweights, you're insane. He's in my top 10. I think he's a world-class striker, and I think he's got amazing ground game, especially being from Team Curran with his cousin Jeff, who runs that. So he has great jiu-jitsu. But Pat Curran coming in with a record of 18-4. He's 8-1 in Bellator. He's the favorite at -140. And I can see how this fight is considered close. Neither man has really been knocked out in MMA competition, and it's really exciting to see what's going to happen. My prediction, obviously, Pat Curran. I love the guy. I'm biased, so I probably won't bet it. But he's the only guy in Bellator that Eddie Alvarez didn't finish. Eddie Alvarez finished all of his opponents in Bellator besides Pat Curran. Pat Curran took him 5 rounds, but it's because of his style of lackluster starts. And that's why I really think this fight's going to have a slow start. I think Sham is a little bit more of an initiator, but he's definitely a counterpuncher. And so is Pat Curran. Pat Curran is a counterpuncher. And I think there's going to be a really extensive feeling out process. And I can really see both guys working the kicks a lot. Both guys don't throw kicks that much, but when they do a lot of damage. And a fun comparison, people are probably going to laugh at me. I think Shumhalaev has the almost eerie similar striking stance to Takanori Gomi. I mean, it's almost completely the same. The way Gomi moves his feet, the way he keeps his hands low. And, Gomi, he does that because he has an iron chin. And I believe Shumhalaev feels he has the same chin, but we haven't really seen it. And some people think that, Pat Curran, he's got, he's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, he trains at Team Curran, he's going to be able to take him down and submit him no problem. Shumhalaev has displayed great ground game. He was able to stand back up at the end of the round versus Rad Martinez. He was able to maintain top position and beat the crap out of Cody Dillinger. So he does have a ground game, although limited it may be. It's enough to definitely hold his own for at least a while. And this fight is 5 rounds, I really don't see it going the distance. We might see either of these men getting knocked out for the first time in their MMA career, and I cannot wait to see it. What a way to end a great season. And this being the last show of the season, I want to send a shout out to our good friends at the MMA analysis team for posting up our videos, and be sure to check out their website and all the stuff that they're doing right now. It's all good stuff. And as always, check out our main sponsor, the MMAmovement.com. They have a new shop set up where you can buy t-shirts and stuff and show your support. So join the movement, get moving, guys. Enjoy the fights.